and welcome. Thank you for allowing me to be in your homes, your workplaces, wherever you are this evening. And before I go ahead, I wanted to share this word of prayer. I say that it's on our Rock of Ages. We thank you for the opportunity that you have given us to come together once again. We pray, Lord, that we do not speak of our own, we do not hear of our own, we do not understand of our own, but we speak what you want us to say, we hear what you want us to hear, and we understand that which you want us to understand and how you want us to understand it. And at the end of the day, only you will be glorified. In Jesus' name I pray. Last week we started the issue of parenting. And like I said last week, I wasn't talking to just the mothers and the fathers, and this generated a lot of questions, comments, reactions from very many people. Some of my close friends were of the opinion that I was too hard on the parents, that well, the parents have a life to live and the children do have a life to live, and well, the little that will be able to impart, the child should be able to carry it on from there. But I quickly pointed out, one of the things that I pointed out last week, that parenting is a lifelong contract. Parenting is a lifelong office. Parenting is a lifelong vocation. Until you breathe your last, you will continue to be a parent. Quickly on Sunday, maybe in quick reaction to that, my husband preached the sermon, and I was, I had to ask him at the point that, he was talking about the relay race, and that for us, like I said, the relay race, for parents, you're on a lane, for the children, they're on another lane, but at one point in time, the lanes will merge. And when do they merge? When the children become parents themselves. Now, that does not stop you from being their parents. You're still running your own race. You're still on that lane. And at a point in time, of course, you will drop out of it, of that race, and that's when the Lord calls you home. But do you know something? The children, who they themselves at that point have become parents, will need tutelage from you, will need experience from you, will need words of encouragement from you. I may go to say they will need a shoulder to cry on, to lean on, and you should be there for them. So today I took time out to tell those people that we were sharing together that, well, a teacher never stops teaching. A mentor never stops mentoring. And a role model will continue to be a role model. But you see, for these three classes, a role model will continue to be a role model even after death. A teacher will continue to teach even after death. And a mentor will continue to mentor even after death. A few minutes ago, I was listening to a live broadcast by Pastor Tunde Bakari, and I'll share a few things that he said. He was addressing the youth, and then I'll go on to my teacher, my mentor, my role model. For me, I see in Tunde Bakari a teacher. I see in him a model, and I see in him a mentor. Now, those three things in Pastor Tunde Bakari, how am I utilizing them? He said, dreams and vision should start in the days of the youth. But you know that those dreams and those visions cannot come if there is no giver of the visions, of the dreams. Joseph, Daniel, Esther were introduced to a God, the giver of dreams and visions. By who? Their teacher, their mentor, and their role model. For Joseph, his father. For Daniel, his parents. For Esther, Mordecai, her uncle, guided her to have that dream, to have that vision. Now, how did those teachers those mentors and those role models come about the guiding principle. They have they had a God. So the starting point, who is the giver of the guiding principle that you are dishing out? I make bold to say that I had, at one point in time, had a distorted teacher about marriage. Let me tell you who that teacher was. Meals and Bones and Silhouette. I'm sure for some mothers, they'll say, oh, those books, and you will quickly read out some of those titles. You know, it was, they were all marriages made in heaven. And we were introduced to marriages that were in cloud 9. But when the reality dawned, is that marriage? When we put the Meals and Bones and the Silhouettes side by side with the Bible, where was the correlation? Or should I ask, where is the correlation? Now, we had mentors in James Hadley Chase. We looked at the men, the macho men, the men who wanted to be like them, like all those people in the James Hadley Chase. When the reality broke out, did they find it like that, even putting it side by side with the Bible? I'll give you an example. Very early in life, when I just got married, my husband would always say that he had a dream of having a home like the Bill Cosby's home. And he wanted a home where there was laughter and all of that. Unfortunately, my husband was not like a Bill Cosby, who was always smiling, ready to joke, ready to play. He was a serious man. He had a frown, always. And it just didn't work out like that. Now, that was his role model. Can we find a Bill Cosby in the Bible? What am I trying to say? At one point in time in our lives as parents, we have had misguided misconceptions about life. Where did it stem from? Was it from our parents? Not really. Because if I had to look at my father and my mother as my role model, there's some things that I have done in marriage that really were not what I found in my mother and father. Let me give you an instance. You could never know when my father and mother had a misunderstanding. You would never know. But where I'm concerned, I have been able to show it. Not that I will shout at my husband, no. Not that we will have altercations in the presence of my children or in the presence of people. But the truth is, I come out with a look that you know that something is wrong with me. I am already upset, so you know something is wrong with me. And so there are 5 occupants of the house. Me, my husband, and 3 children. And the 3 children know that when we were in the room together, we were playing. So who could have caused this for mommy? Obviously it was daddy. So have I been able to model the kind of marriage my parents model in my presence to my own children? To a large extent, yes. But in places that really matter, no. What am I modeling for my children? What am I giving them? The giver of the dreams and visions, as encapsulated in Joseph's dreams and visions, Daniel's dreams and visions, Esther's dreams and visions. He went on to say, the time of a youth is the best time to prepare for the future. How am I helping my children prepare for their future? Am I allowing them to make the same mistakes I made? Only in the name of, well, is that what I am modeling for them? Pastor Bakari shared his experience with late Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Benga Daniel. He said he asked Chief Obafemi Awolowo, when he came to Unilag to deliver a lecture, I can't remember the name of the group that he said organizing, but he was a member of that group that organized that lecture that in that particular year, late Chief Obafemi Awolowo did come to deliver the lecture. He said, how can I distinguish myself? And he said, and I quote what Pastor Bakari said, late Chief, do you have two heads? Those people that are stealing from government still, do they have two heads? Am I stealing and letting them know that I am stealing? Am I lying and letting them know that I am lying? Am I circumventing justice and letting them know that I'm circumventing justice? Am I encouraging promiscuity and so there's no big deal? If I'm still alive, God will not kill you for doing it. Is that what I am modeling to my children? You know, it's very, very instructive, because if Awolowo told Pastor Bakari that, then all the things that his mother told him, as written in the book, The Woman Who Saw the Future, is not different from what the mother told him. The mother beat him silly for not returning the change after buying what she sent him and his cousin, because they kept the change and bought groundnuts. I said she won't know. She already thought that this thing was 5 shillings. So if we keep the remaining 1 shilling, she wouldn't know. So is it different? Now, if you remember last week, I gave the example of something my husband is always telling me, that if you have fed your husband satisfactorily at home, sexually and every other way, he will not go out and look for it. And even if he is offered outside, he will reject it, because he is already filled with what, that person is offering him. Pastor Bakari's mother had already filled him with the things that Awolowo now came to top it up with at Unilag. So he already had a background that was teaching him stealing is not for you if you are going to be distinguished in life. And now here comes Chief Obafemi Awolowo to put the icing on the cake, that to distinguish yourself, don't steal from government steal, because you will be rubbished like every other person that so-called distinguished at one point in time. So what am I giving them as a foundation at home? And that's what I told these my colleagues and friends that challenged me on Monday and Tuesday about our meeting on Saturday. So it made me to try and find out who is a teacher, who is a mentor, and who is a role model. So I went to Webster's Dictionary and later went to Merriam-Webster's Dictionary, and I got this. A teacher is the person that will pass on information, knowledge, and will enlighten in such a way that you are able to carry on even without that person's help in the nearest future. So a teacher is supposed to impute in you what is going to help you to go on in life. The teacher must never forget the person behind the message. We must never get so caught up in teaching a particular view or favorite doctrine that we forget that there's a reason for that message. Which now brings me, why am I teaching my children what I'm teaching them? Am I teaching them so that I'll have a meal ticket in future? If I'm teaching them so that I'll have a meal ticket when I retire from public service and I'm old and bent double, then it's likely I will not teach them according to biblical standards. Now, not many of you should become teachers, as in James 3, verse 1. Says, not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. If I am going to be judged with greater strictness than you that I am teaching, then that means I must be above board. So if I am teaching you because I am looking for a meal ticket in future, the likelihood is I would encourage you to cut corners so that your barn will be full, so that you can give me even out of the excesses that you have, so that what you need will not be affected by what you will give me. Amen. A teacher must have a good conscience, must have a pure heart, and must have sincere faith. We can see that in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 1, verse 15. If I am going to teach you, I must have a pure heart. How does a pure heart come about? A pure heart comes about by having imbibed the word of God, having let it sink inside of me, and let it become me. Then my heart will be pure. I must have a good conscience. What is a good conscience? A good conscience is a conscience that I have come, I have run the race, and I have concluded that which you have sent me, which was what Jesus did. He had a good conscience, and I must have sincere faith. Sincere faith in who? Sincere faith in what? Those three conditions are very important for a teacher. I want you as a parent to check yourself. Do you have a pure heart? Do you have good conscience? And do you have sincere faith? Some things played out in my life in the last 7 days. And I discovered that even those people that claim that they are doing things with good conscience actually have tainted reasons for doing the things they are doing. So why am I doing the things I am doing? Is it because of Christ? Am I doing it for Christ's sake? Is it because I love Christ? If I do everything or anything for any other reason apart from that, then it is not with a pure heart, it's not with a good conscience, and definitely it is not with sincere faith. So, in the way you are teaching your children and the things that you are teaching your children, you cannot have sincere faith if you do not have good knowledge and true knowledge of the word, understanding of the word, and doing of the word. It can't come about. Faith is a verb. It's a doing word. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. And I won't know that you have heard the word of God if I do not see you do the things that the word of God has said. You claim you love me, and yet you are poisoning me. You claim you love me, yet you don't want my husband to be happy with me. You don't want my children to be happy with me. And you claim you love me. I want to check your love. You claim you love me, and yet you do not want to see me succeed in life. You pull me down. Then I want to check your love. All those true love will come only by sincere faith. How sincere is my faith as a parent? How good is my conscience as a parent? And how pure is my heart as a parent? Then I'll be a good teacher. If I'm able to put these three side by side, my teaching profession, then I'll be able to teach properly. Tips for teaching biblically. Let me quickly say that. The first tip I got, and this I had to go online to search that. Okay, to teach effectively, to teach the heart of God, to teach the will of God, I must already know the word of God. I must already be doing the word of God. I must believe intricately in that word of God. Now, if I'm going to teach my children and teach them according to what God wants, then I must first of all start by handing it over to God. Handing over that teaching to God. That means I must pray without ceasing. The Bible says, watch and pray. A teacher will sit down and watch. Okay, what are the things that makes this boy or this girl tick? Okay, let me start doing those things. You can't go and teach university undergraduates the way you will teach kindergarten. You will teach kindergarten with cartoons, with animation, with play, with joke. But when you get to the undergraduate class, you explain because you expect them to have developed in their reasoning to a particular extent. So the things you apply for a toddler's class is not likely the same things you'll apply for an undergraduate class. So you must watch and pray. Lord, how best do you want me to handle this? Somebody once looked at me and said, you have done well with your children. And I said, if this my job that I do is anything to go by, I will not be a successful teacher of the children, because I do not have too much man-hour to stay with them and impart them. But I've also seen mothers and fathers that stay 24/7 with the children, but they have not imparted anything on those children. We must make sure our motives are right. Do I have a pure heart? Do I have a good conscience? A teacher must make sure he or she has a good relationship with God, because that's when God will impart on you what to impart on the children. The teacher should study diligently. You can imagine your math teacher coming to class to teach algebra and tell you that, oh, okay, it is, I've not studied, I don't know about this algebra yet, even though the syllabus says we're to study algebra today. But you know what? Let's go to multiplication table. Let's repeat multiplication table because I have not yet done anything on algebra. Yet you are supposed to be teaching algebra. So, what am I teaching if I do not know what the Word of God says? We must remember that we are also not infallible. We can fall, but we must stand and continue going. Don't let us justify to our children our fallings and our failings. To be a teacher, it is lofty and it is honorable. However, embarking on such a journey must meet some prerequisites. You must be of a pure heart, you must be of a good conscience, and you must be of sincere faith. Those three things are very important for a teacher. Now, who is a mentor? Who is a mentor? Is the person who teaches by what he or she has gone through and points you in the direction of how to maneuver if such should happen to you. Essentially, a mentor is also a teacher. This is less of a training for a task. A mentor mentors in a particular area. I'm a journalist. I've had several mentors in this profession. I've had the Shino Elegbedes. I've had the Leko Gubangos. I've had Toyiba Kwaleoki. I've had so many people in this line of journalism. Of blessed memory, I've had somebody like Kule Oloke. You know, his own was not in journalism, but also in management. You understand how to run a newsroom and run a news department, and the news staff, how to coordinate them. Kule Oloke was so unique. So I've had mentors. So a mentor takes a particular role or a particular aspect and shapes you in that aspect. So, who is your mentor as a father? Who is your mentor as a mother? Somebody said he's thankful to his parents and the person that brought him up, because they didn't stigmatize against him being an albino. They were proud of him, so he didn't go through depression. They were able to flaunt him when others were hiding their albino children. So it wasn't just his parents that mentored him in self-confidence, in self-worth, and in being strong-willed. He had an uncle that also did that to him. So a mentor is that person. Are you a mentor? I'll ask the fathers, are you a mentor to your son? And I'll ask the mothers, are you a mentor to your daughter? Are you shaping them how to be a true father, a good husband, and a good man? Are you, as a mother, shaping your daughter in how to be a good woman, a good wife, and a good mother? Are you a mentor? A mentor takes up a particular role, a particular task in the life of a child. You're an entrepreneur. Somebody posted on his mother's Facebook and said, it's 15 years my mother died. She taught me arithmetic. He's a director in the Ministry of Information in Lagos State. He said, my mother taught me arithmetic from her provision store. Because it had to be in her store. And you must know how to calculate 50 kobo and 75 kobo, and you must not make a mistake. If they bring 1 naira, you must know how much change you will give from a good of 75 kobo that they have bought. So, all of this, the mother was his mentor in entrepreneurship, in business. Are you a mentor to your child in, for instance, being a pastor, being an evangelist, or even being a journalist, being a public figure? Where you are concerned, are you sure your child is not being mocked? That's the son or the daughter of the man that cleared our treasury. What am I mentoring? Can my mentee follow my footsteps and heavens will rejoice? What kind of pastor are you? Are the people, the followership in your church, can they pray to be a pastor in life? Can they seek God's face, that God, I want to be a pastor like this pastor? What kind of mentor are you? Mentorship is more or less discipleship. How do I mean? Our Lord Jesus Christ was a perfect example of a mentor. He taught his disciples to follow him and mimic him by living his own type of life. Can your son follow you and mimic the kind of life that you are living as a father? Can your daughter follow you and mimic you with the kind of life that you are living as a mother? Are you a mentor to your children? Spiritual mentors today, as spiritual mentors, we don't always need to have those we teach forsake their jobs. By just looking at us and moving close to us, they should be able to get it. Now, you will now say, what will be the role of peer pressure in all of this? We're still coming to that. Because that takes me to the issue of the fact that you are a mentor. What are your duties as a mentor? Number one, a mentor prays for his mentee. How much do we pray for our children? A mentor will pray for his mentee. I am a mentor to my daughter. I am a mentor to my sister. I am a mentor to females around me. Do I pray for them? They don't know. They should not even know that I'm praying for them. But do you know something? They must see the results of the prayers I'm praying for them. How? Because good things must begin to unfold in their lives. Jesus told his disciple, the devil is seeking you, but I have prayed for you. So, why did Jesus have to do that as a mentor? He had to do that as a mentor so that his disciple will be on guard. As a mentor, if you notice something wrong in the life of your children, you should pray in that regard, but also call their attention to it. The devil is seeking you, but I'm praying for you. What should you do as my mentee when the devil comes? Resist all appearances of evil. Flee from all appearances of evil. So when the vision comes, when the dream comes, I want to drive a Bugatti. Then I don't know how they say it, but my children once said, they explained, there was a song I heard, and they said, the musician said something shashe. I said, what's the meaning of that? That they want to do yahoo yahoo, they want to, cut corners. And I looked at them and said, is that a way of life? And I don't want to use the exact word that they use, but they said, obviously this person is an unserious person that to go in this life. So what am I saying in essence? I will call their attention that I have noticed these traits in you. My dear mentee, don't go in that direction. Although I am praying for you. Which is what the Bible says. That you keep quiet in the face of wrongdoing. It is wrong. It is a sin. So if your mentee are doing the wrong things, call their attention to it. You call their attention to it, but also pray about it. A mentor prays for his mentee. A mentor encourages the spiritual growth of his mentee. You should be on your mentee's back. When last did you read the Bible? When last did you have quiet time? When last did you fellowship with God? When last did you engage in a lockdown with God? Just you and God. Alone in your room. Lock down yourself with him. Encourage them. Encourage their spiritual growth. When was the last time you did that as a mentor to your mentee? And in this case that we're talking about, your children. Are you as a mentor training your mentees to be able to train others? Can your first child take charge of the home when you are not there? Or your first child is a liability as well? Can your first child take care of his younger ones when you are not there? Have you mentored that first child, the older ones in the house, so that they can train the younger ones? What are you training them? One day, I have a daughter. Even though she told my husband recently that I don't care for them. I care for myself alone. Why? Because I am always on her neck. So I told her, I said, if you go this way, you tone. You already fair complexion, you are toning. So your sister that is dark, that is black, if she starts using cream, what will you tell her? And here is you. Your parents are not of extreme means. So what will now happen? She should go and get boyfriends and sugar daddies to fund her newfound craze of toning. You understand? Have I trained that one enough to train the younger ones? Now, the older ones, can they cook? Or their husband will die of starvation? When the wife has gone to put to bed, have you trained your son to be able to take charge of the home, so that when the wife comes, she doesn't come and meet a toilet filled with, and a bathroom that is stinking, and a dustbin that is overflowing in the sitting room, dirty plates and pots in the kitchen, cockroaches crawling all around the house? Have I mentored my son to know that even household chores are not exclusive for women? How have I mentored my mentee, in this case, my children? Have I trained them to be able to train others? All of this are the roles of a mentor. Take a specific angle of their life. Pour life into that aspect of their life. then you would have succeeded as a mentor. And that brings me to the last one, my role model. A role model is an example. When I went to the dictionary, a role model is an example. Inspiring for meaningful living. What am I inspiring for? What kind of life am I inspiring my children to live? A mother that sends her daughter to her boyfriend's place is inspiring something in that child. A mother that boasts in her escapades when she was a young person, going from man to man, and unfortunately I ended up with your father. But it's not too late, oh. You are inspiring something in that child. You are role modeling something in that child. A father that tells his son that when I was your age, I could finish 2 cartons of Gouda. 1 packet of Rotmans was not enough for me. Actually, 3 girls were not enough for me to sleep with one night. But thank God for Jesus, Sha. That life was sweet. You are role modeling something for that child. Because you have ended it with that life was sweet. So there is no way that child will not want to try it. That child will try it. Don't forget that the foundation of all of this is teaching. Then you go to mentorship. Then you go to role modeling. What am I inspiring in my children? As a father, as a mother. A role model shows passion and the ability to inspire. You must be passionate about your children turning out God's own way in life. It is a passion. You must not compromise it. You can't compromise it. You can't leave it for others to do for you. If you can leave it for others to do for you, I make bold to say, your child will not have been born to you. Your child will probably have been born under the bridge. So that there is a community of anyhow people to train that child, to role model for that child. But if God gave you that child, God means you to be the role model for that child. You must be passionate about that thing that God has given you to do, and that is role modeling for your child. What kind of role model are you? I heard a story a long time ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, about a man that reported his wife to the children that your mother not coming home for days is not because of her work, but it's because of this man that she has started having an affair with. And the mother came back home and said, yes, what's the big deal? Can you cater for my needs? Now, I have an issue with that story because it came up to me this week again when I was discussing with a younger colleague of mine that has something similar going in her life. I have an issue with that. Why would that father decide to share that with the children? And why will that mother decide to do that with the children? Well, we will have to round up here, but I'm going to leave you with this, said by Mrs. Awoshika. We all hold a piece of what is required to build our lives, to build our homes, and to build our world so that we can survive. It might be small, but it is not too small for you to impart on your children. More than what some people think, it is what you think, how you dare to think, and determine what is right, and how you have the audacity and the courage to fight for what is right. Fight for the word of God. Fight for its entrenchment in the life of your children. Fight for it in your home. And I know the Lord will honor His word. May He help you to be good teachers